Alright, thank you. This is part 5 of the buy or own investment problem. We're continuing on with the before taxes cash flow from the sale, and we're going to do the selling costs. It's just a very simple calculation. Multiply the sales price, times the selling expenses percentage. And we're gonna absolute reference that. Set it equal and drag it over. Set that equal to there. I'm going to center my years. Beautiful. And the mortgage balance value, which is a relatively easy calculation because it's already been calculated. So it's not necessarily a calculation so much as it is a reference. Now, benefit from sale, just simply the sales price minus the selling costs minus the mortgage balance. Excellent. And to make this all easy enough, all accounting, drag this formula over, and we have our values. Wonderful. Before tax cash flow done. After tax cash flow begin. Reference to sales price, drag it over, make sure I get this border done, less selling costs, and less the purchase price. Purchase price, which is relatively easy. Absolute reference this again and drag that over as well. The gain on sale equals sales price minus selling costs minus the purchase price. And we can drag that over as well. The exclusion. Alright, so the exclusion. The law states you're able to, the tax code states that you're able to go and have a exclusion currently up to $250,000 for a single individual, or for a married couple $500,000 if you've lived in a particular house 2 out of the last 5 years before selling it. So we can do an if or then statement, and if nothing else, you can go ahead and add in single go or single and I'm just gonna go ahead and set up a little box, and you know what, I'm gonna move this box over here a single and I'm going to go ahead and enter a 1 here. And then I'm going to go ahead do a couple if-then statements. They're relatively easy, but you got to go and be careful. Equals if, then the test will be this value is greater than 250,000, then the value is true will be this cell F76 minus 250,000. If false, we're actually going to do another if statement, if-then statement. If false, then the test will be if the F76 cell is less than 0, then if that is true, you put 0. If false, then you're going to go ahead and do, I gotta think about this, it does get a little bit complicated, I'm not gonna lie. You are going to put the value of F76, and I'm missing the second parentheses. Simple enough, I just need to add one more. Enter. And if this is correct, it should equal the value. And it does. So, wonderful. That's definitely pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. So, taxable gain is the next step, and that taxable gain will be, taxable gain is going to be, simply put, the gain on sale minus the exclusion, which if I do this, I'm going to show you it's not going to work really well. You know, you get that 10,000, it's just messy. It's going to be equal to we're going to do another if statement. If this is greater than or equal to this, then the value, if true, will be this minus this. If false, it will simply be equal to if it is greater than or equal to, it will simply be 0. And dragged over. Beautiful. And we get 0. The tax equals the taxable gain value times our marginal tax rate. And we're going to hard code that, or absolute reference it. And get 0. And the after-tax cash flow will very simply be equal to the value up here in this particular. It's going to be equal to this value you're going to find up here for the before tax cash flow, because there was no tax actually made on, or there was no taxable gain, so there can't be a tax on the taxable gain. In other words, it's going to be the before tax cash flow, so equals before tax cash flow minus the tax must be paid, and dragged over, we get the value. Now some of you might be remembering that I had a wonderful little single or married box up here. If you want to include that, then basically it's just a simple third if or then statement. And you can do that by doing exclusion of right here, F30 or F76 greater than or equal to, and then 250,000, and then F76 minus that same if or then statement. So it's going to be simply if logical test, the box is 1, or if, excuse me, this box equals 1, then if true, you're going to have 250,000. If false, you're going to do a 500,000 and just get rid of that 25,000, and you can actually copy that if statement and put it in for here. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a very complicated problem. And you can see that if I change this to 2, in this particular case, it will still stay at the same values, simply because it is what it is, and it's just going to increase that limit, not decrease that limit. So it's kind of an interesting feature, just a little extra add-on. And last but not least, well, should I even partake? Should I even do this? Is it worth my time? And that question I'll answer fully in the next video and final video, which should be video 6. It's simply going to be filling this last part in here, and It's not a very difficult